Echoes of peace. For over a century, Earth had known peace. Borders faded into memories, ideologies tempered into cooperation, and war, once humanity's oldest ritual, was buried beneath the weight of progress. Climate disasters had nearly broken the species, but from that brink came unity. The Earth of 2107 was not a battlefield, but a cradle of science, art, and ambition. Diseases had been tamed. Energy was clean and endless. AI governed logistics with flawless precision. Hunger and poverty were archived chapters in history lessons. Humanity had reached for the stars, not with weapons, but with wonder. Captain Naomi Vega stood at the viewing deck of the Odyssey, her eyes tracing the infinite sea beyond the reinforced glass. The exploration vessel hummed gently around her, a masterpiece of human engineering and hope. They were 2 years into their deep space mission, charting systems beyond Alpha Centauri, cataloging strange planets, and sending back data that made Earth scientists giddy with childlike awe. She smiled. This was what it meant to be human now. To explore, to learn, to reach without conquest. "Captain," came a voice through the comms, "we've picked up a signal. Unidentified, non-random. Source, Epsilon Eridani sector. No known human activity." Naomi turned. "Composition, structured pulses. Patterns, possibly artificial. It's not one of ours." Curiosity flared in her chest. First contact? They had always hoped, dreamed. Every mission carried the unspoken hope that they wouldn't be alone forever. "Set a course," she said. "Let's say hello." The Odyssey glided through the darkness, nearing the source of the signal. As they approached the sector's edge, long-range scanners flickered with new data. "Captain," the comms officer's voice grew tense, "we've got a ship. Massive. No IFF. Design completely alien." The bridge fell silent. Naomi stepped forward. "Are they responding to hails?" "No. They're scanning us. Weapons systems, powering up." She frowned. "Keep shields raised, but don't escalate. Transmit peaceful intent. Standard first contact protocol." They broadcast greetings in every known language and binary format, a digital olive branch. Silence returned. Then, without warning, a searing beam of energy tore through space, slamming into the Odyssey's forward shields. Lights flickered. Alarms screamed. "Direct hit. Shields down to 60%. Naomi gritted her teeth. "Raise evasive pattern. Get us out of here." Another blast. This one tore through the hull. Systems failed. Fires erupted. In her final moments, Naomi reached for the console and activated the emergency beacon, transmitting a single word across the stars. "Attacked." On Earth, the signal arrived like a whisper from a nightmare. A peaceful civilization paused, stunned, as the message repeated across every channel. First contact had come, and it came with fire. Fire and ashes. The message repeated across every broadcast channel. "Attacked." 2 seconds of audio. One word. But it cracked the foundation of Earth's century-long peace. In the gleaming towers of Geneva, where the United Earth Command convened, silence fell like a guillotine. Counselors stared at the transmission logs, rewatching the final seconds of the Odyssey's life. No warnings. No attempts at communication. Just sudden, merciless violence. Dr. Celine Kwan, head of the Interstellar Relations Council, whispered the words everyone feared. They didn't just ignore us. They wanted us dead. At first, denial clung to the minds of the people. Surely, it was a misunderstanding, a machine malfunction, an automated defense system. But then came Mars. The alien ships emerged from a solar void, sleek, bone-white things with jagged edges that made no pretense of diplomacy. They descended on Mars Orbital Command with precision and brutality, cutting through defense satellites and shredding the Martian sky with plasma bombardments. The colonies barely had time to respond. In minutes, millions were dead. Earth watched helplessly as flames danced across the red planet. Martian families, engineers, children, scientists, reduced to ashes by a force humanity hadn't even provoked. The news hit like a thunderclap. Cities on Earth held candlelight vigils. Screens broadcast the funeral silence of Mars. Every citizen felt the same primal shift deep inside, the death of safety, of naivety, of peace. They had come uninvited, uninterested in words. Humanity had reached for friendship. The aliens had replied with annihilation. In the ruins of Geneva's skyline, where banners of peace once flew, United Earth Command authorized directive Soul Fire. Total planetary mobilization. War, the long-forgotten beast, was reborn. Mass drivers once used for asteroid mining were repurposed as kinetic railguns. AI-assisted orbital factories reactivated dormant military blueprints. Quantum tech labs once dedicated to healing were now refining graviton warheads. And everywhere, on Earth, on the moon, in the belt, the people repeated the same words. We didn't start this, but they would end it. Among the debris orbiting Mars, a signal pulsed. A survivor, face burned, suit breached but alive, had rigged a transmitter from shattered comms buoy. Her voice, hoarse but resolute, crackled into Earth's airwaves. Captain Naomi Vega tried to speak to them. They answered with fire. They murdered our people. They scorched our soil. A pause. Static. They think we're weak because we loved peace. Let's show them what happens when we fight. The message was picked up, broadcast, amplified. Across the planet, from New Tokyo to New Dakar, from underground Arctic labs to floating oceanic cities, a sleeping giant stirred. Humanity, builders, thinkers, dreamers had been attacked. Now, they would become something else. Warriors. The awakening beast. The first Terran warship in over a century launched from the moon under a silent sky. Forged in orbital shipyards once used to ferry colonists and scientists, TWS Valkyrie was a monster of necessity. Its sleek hull bristled with quantum rail cannons, energy-dispersing armor, and AI combat networks adapted from peaceful navigation systems. The very tech that had once mapped stars would now be used to burn them. Humanity had not been ready for war, but it had never stopped being capable of it. Commander Elias Rourke stood on the bridge, his face a weathered map of past conflicts. Decades ago, he fought in Earth's final civil conflict, then swore never to kill again. Now his oath was ash. Mars had seen to that. The target, his tactical officer said, is an alien relay outpost orbiting Kepler 61c. Surveillance suggests it coordinates attacks and intercepts transmissions. Rourke nodded. Iron Dawn begins. 3 Terran warships dropped from subspace in perfect formation. Behind them, stealth drones dispersed, scattering decoys across the system. The outpost, a twisted construct of organic metal and fractal geometry, responded with its own fleet. They're moving, Rourke said calmly. Time to see if they can bleed. The battle was fast, brutal, beautiful. Terran warships, smaller but faster, danced around the alien formations. Rail slugs screamed across vacuum, piercing hulls. Plasma turrets on the Valkyrie unleashed arcing torrents of energy, burning holes through the strange, ivory ships. Human AI tacticians rewrote battlefield strategies in real time, outmaneuvering the rigid alien formations. But the cost was blood. One by one, the escort ships took hits. The Dauntless broke in two after a kamikaze strike. The Seraph went dark, its reactor breached. Yet humanity held. Then came the turning point. An alien command ship prepared to warp, likely to alert their empire. Rourke made his call. Bring us in close. Fire everything. The Valkyrie surged forward like a spear. At point-blank range, it unleashed a focused quantum burst that shattered the alien command ship in a blinding white explosion. Debris scattered across the black void, curling and melting under the pressure of artificial gravity and rage. Cheers erupted from the remaining crew. The outpost, without coordination, faltered. Drones swarmed in and finished it. The operation was a success. A message had been sent. Humanity was no longer running. In the debriefing that followed, Rourke stood before Earth's leaders via HoloLink, eyes hard. We've confirmed it, he said. They're not gods. They're not untouchable. They could die. And they just learned what happens when humans stop talking and start fighting. A long pause. And we're only getting started. Back on Earth, across cities and space stations, a new slogan spread like fire through steel. We were builders. Now we are vengeance. And deep in the cold darkness of space, the stars began to whisper. The humans are coming. War forged in peace. The skies above Zarkala, capital world of the Zalvari Empire, burned red. Humanity's fleet, once explorers, now executioners, descended through the storm-racked atmosphere, their ships casting long, black shadows across the alien megastructures below. Planetary defenses screamed in vain. The war that had begun with a single strike had reached its end. Commander Elias Rourke stood on the command deck of the Valkyrie, his armor scorched from a dozen battles. His hands, once calloused from gardening and retirement, now gripped the controls of Earth's deadliest warship. "Status?" he asked. "Enemy fleet is in full retreat. Surface resistance is collapsing. We've breached their central command dome." Rourke stared at the image on the main screen, a massive spire of living metal, part temple, part fortress. Within it, the high conclave of the Zalvari watched their empire unravel. He opened a channel. "This is Commander Elias Rourke of the Terran Warfront. You struck first. We struck back. Now, you surrender, or you die." Static. Then a voice, cold and disbelieving. "You were primitives. You were peaceful. You weren't supposed to fight back." Rourke's eyes narrowed. "We were peaceful until you taught us fear, until you made us watch our children burn on Mars." A pause. "You underestimated the one truth you never studied about humanity." "And what is that?" the alien asked. "We learn." The Valkyrie fired a final kinetic salvo, obliterating the command dome. The war was over. But the cost? Earth counted that in the millions. Whole cities on Mars were gone. The orbital rings around Earth were half molten. The moon bore scars that would never fade. But humanity still stood, bruised, bleeding, but unbroken. In the war's aftermath, Earth convened not to gloat, but to remember. Captain Naomi Vega, the Martian colonists, the children in the Europa domes who never made it to the shelters. Their names were etched into the stone of the new Unity Memorial, built from the alloy of wrecked alien ships. Rourke returned to Earth, no longer a soldier. His war was done. On the steps of the rebuilt United Earth Assembly, he gave his final address. "We were born in peace, raised in the hope that the stars held friends, not monsters. We reached out with open hands, and we were struck down." He looked up at the gathered crowd, and the billions watching from every colony, every city, every outpost. But we rose. We fought, not because we loved war, but because we loved what you try to take from us. Our peace, our people, our right to exist. He stepped back, letting silence carry his final words. "We may seek peace, but if war finds us, we will not cower. We will stand. We will fight, and we will survive." Above him, the Terran banner flew high, a symbol of unity forged not in conquest, but in fury denied. The stars would never forget the lesson of Earth. Do not mistake kindness for weakness, because when peace ends, humanity awakens.